what are some of the best practices and pitfalls that you've seen with regard to asynchronous elements of community building, especially when people don't already know each other well?
Cool. I don't know if I have like nothing comes to mind immediately other than the fact that I think one thing we've learned is that the lines between asynchronous and synchronous are kind of blurrier than they seem. And I think that's a recent phenomenon with like the fact that we're always online. So like before it was like you either were like synchronously talking or asynchronous, and all text messaging or any sort of form of that was asynchronous. But now, like, that's not really true. And I think what we learned, maybe a lesson that's somewhat helpful, is in the beginning, we thought of Cocoon as like purely, like literally the most asynchronous thing. The whole point is that it's like asynchronous and low pressure. And so we actually had 0 notifications at all, because like notifications are like for synchronous, and we were like asynchronous. And we thought you could just like put stuff in there, and then when people wanted to feel closer to each other, to their loved ones, and get a window into what was going on, they'd open up the app and they could see what was up. And that surprisingly worked like okay. Like people opened up the app at all, which was cool. But we heard that a lot of people were kind of like wanting notifications because it was like one of the few notifications that represented something that they wanted always on their phone. It was like going to be good for sure. And so we've actually kind of blurred the lines a bit in the product lately with asynchronous and synchronous. And we have notifications, they're silent instead of, so they don't interrupt you. And we've realized that was kind of a distinction of like, for a new thing on your phone, it could either interrupt what you're doing in the real world, or it could surface the next time you just check your phone naturally, which is different, or it could surface the next time you open up the app. And that was where we were before. And then we kind of moved one notch this way, and that's like moving a notch in synchronicity, but it's still, we think, asynchronous-ish. And that worked a lot better. So I think like maybe the lesson is to like not really, like there are differences, but maybe that there's not like a clear recipe for either. And that like, I mean, in our case, it was like literally asking people what they wanted and just trying to do that, even if it wasn't our intuition. And that helped us find the balance a little bit.